This is Scams and Cons News with Jim Grinstead.
In today's Scams and Cons News, a man who failed to fake his own death via a canoe is apparently at it again. And cars that were underwater in recent storms are being resold in other states as undamaged vehicles. And today we begin with an old scam called the swoop and squat. It involves two cars and sometimes three. It happens when the scammer's car swoops in front of the mark's car, then makes a quick stop, hoping the driver behind rear-ends them. Since most rear-end accidents are considered the driver in the rear at fault, it can be a quick way to insurance fraud or convincing the mark to pay up cash so the insurance company doesn't know. You mainly see this in downtowns where the traffic is more dense. If it's in a less dense area, there may be a third car involved to keep the mark from avoiding the crash. If the mark's car is able to stop in time, the scammer will simply put their car in reverse and slam into the mark's car. We have audio about what happened inside one mark's car, and you should prepare yourself for some F-bombs. You'll understand why.
Oh my God, what is he doing? Babe!
Babe, what happened?
Oh, shit. I don't know.
Babe.
I got into an accident. Oh my God. Oh my God,
Where are
babe.
you?
I'm on the Bell Parkway. This guy just reversed into me. What the hell is going on?
Reversed into you?
Yeah. Oh my. Oh, fuck, I'm shaking.
Oh my God. Babe.
Yeah.
Just stay there. Oh my God.
What you just heard is the voice of the mark in the car that was struck. She was on the phone calling for assistance. In this case, the car swooped and squatted but wasn't hit. The car was put into reverse and smashed into the mark's car. The occupants then got out and started photographing her car and peering inside. Fortunately, the woman had a dash cam and the entire incident was recorded. She was not blamed for the accident. It takes some courage for a scammer to try this scam because they don't know if they'll be hurt. Whatever the woman paid for the dash cam in this car, it was well worth the money. A 31-year-old man has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for orchestrating a $20 million scam targeting Coinbase customers. At this point, you'd think people would run for the hills with all the cryptocurrency scams around, but greed is a powerful motivator. The man and his accomplices created a fake website that closely mimicked the legitimate Coinbase platform. This deceptive site tricked users into providing their login credentials and two-factor identification codes. The fraudsters also impersonated Coinbase customer support representatives to solicit sensitive information over the phone. The man lived a lavish lifestyle, purchasing luxury vehicles including Lamborghinis and Porsches, high-end watches, and extravagant trips to destinations like Dubai and Thailand. The scheme affected hundreds of Coinbase customers worldwide. One victim from North Carolina reported losing more than $240,000. The man was apprehended late last year at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. He pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud earlier this year. U.S. District Judge Kenneth Bell handed down a 5-year sentence in a federal court in North Carolina. Following his prison term, the man will undergo 2 years of supervised release. He's currently in federal custody. John Darwin, the famous canoe fraudster, has remarried at the age of 64. He exchanged vows with Mercy Mayavilla, a Filipina in her 30s. The couple's wedding was revealed alongside details of Darwin's plans to return to Panama, where he previously fled after faking his own death in 2002 to claim insurance money. Our AI voice Brian tells the rest of the story.
Darwin's new bride appears unfazed by his controversial past. Their engagement was brief, reportedly occurring on January 2nd, just weeks before their wedding. Mercy has expressed her affection for Darwin publicly, sharing heartfelt messages on social media. Britain's Daily Mail said the couple's history is marked by scandal. Darwin and his first wife, Anne, were involved in a scheme that shocked the UK when they staged his death to escape financial troubles. After being declared dead in 2003, Darwin lived secretly next to Anne for years before their elaborate ruse was uncovered. Despite his checkered past, Darwin has found a new chapter with Mercy. However, he faces ongoing financial struggles due to the Proceeds of Crime Act, which has limited his earnings from the fraudulent activities he engaged in years ago. As he prepares for a possible return to Panama, speculation surrounds whether he aims to reclaim some of the assets hidden there. Mercy's friends have congratulated her on her marriage to Darwin, although it's unclear how much they know about his notorious history. Meanwhile, Anne has distanced herself from the drama and now leads a quiet life working at an animal shelter.
This is Scams and Cons News.
Pack your body bags. We're going on a slaycation. Tim, what's a slaycation?
A slaycation is a murder or mysterious death that happens while you're on vacation.
If you like to mix humor with horror and travel,
Join me, Kim Davis,
And me, Adam Tex Davis.
and me, Jerry Colbert,
as we look at the craziest slaycations that will have you asking, what the F is wrong with people? You can find Slaycation on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Just remember, getting away can be murder.
Hey there, I'm James, host of Dakota Spotlight. We're back with a new season, You Killed Chris, A Friend's Fight for Justice. It's a chilling throwback to 1968. A college freshman, Christine Rothschild, is murdered on campus during her morning walk. Join us as we dive into this unsolved case and follow a friend's relentless pursuit of the truth, all the way from the flower power era to today. Binge You Killed Chris on your favorite app or at dakotaspotlight.com.
A property fraud scheme has been uncovered in Florida, allegedly perpetrated by a married couple using forged documents. Victor Rodriguez and his wife Michelle Cherry are accused of stealing homes through a surprisingly simple scam. The couple allegedly targeted properties in Tampa and Miami-Dade County, forging quitclaim deeds to transfer ownership fraudulently. One of their alleged victims, Larry and Darima Bilby, discovered the theft after receiving an alert from the Hillsborough County Property Fraud Alert System. According to prosecutors, Rodriguez and Cherry identified seemingly abandoned properties, forged signatures on quitclaim deeds, and filed the fraudulent documents with the county clerk's office. The process reportedly cost as little as 70 cents to execute. The scheme unraveled when the Bilbys noticed suspicious activity on their security cameras. They also received a fraud alert from the county clerk's office. Tampa police investigated and arrested the couple earlier this year. If convicted, Cherry could face up to 275 years in prison on charges that include 7 counts of identity theft and multiple fraud-related charges. Vicious storms have landed in the U.S. and Mexico this season. Little can be done about the houses that were damaged or destroyed except to rebuild them, but cars? Now that's another matter. If they can be restored to working order, they can be resold to unsuspecting buyers in areas away from where the storm happened. ABC5 in Arizona says some of those cars are appearing there.
Emma Wynn, Director of Public Relations at Carfax, says it doesn't take much for a flood-damaged car to become dangerous.
While a car may look showroom fresh, it may be rotting from the inside out.
According to Carfax, Phoenix ranks 29th out of the top 100 metros for the number of flood-damaged cars in the market. There were 3,800 at the end of 2023. The number will likely rise in the wake of recent storms like Hurricanes Helene and Milton. Flood-damaged cars should be branded with salvaged or flood titles, but sometimes after a rebuild, those cars reappear with clean titles. So if you're in the market for a used car, the first thing you want to do is check for any and all reports. Make sure you run that VIN number to see if there's any water damage information. And before you buy, check for telltale signs that the seller may be trying to hide damage.
Look at the carpentry and the upholstery. Is it damp? Is it loose? See if the carpet is mismatched from the upholstery. That's a bad sign.
Also check the pedals. Are there signs of rust? Look under the dash for brittle wires. Check for mud in unusual places, especially high up. It could mean the car was submerged. Look at the lights to see if they have moisture beading inside. And also, if you can, check the oil. If it's cloudy, water may have gotten into the system.
Use all of your senses. So smell, look out for that smell of mildew. It could be potentially mold that's festering inside the car.
Before you buy, take a test drive and have a mechanic with a trained eye give the car a once-over.
Imagine spending $16,000 on a fancy bottle of French wine when it was actually Italian. The European Union's law enforcement agency, Europol, revealed that it uncovered and shut down an extensive, decade-long wine fraud operation. The scheme involved producing wine in Italy, falsely labeling it as French, and secretly distributing these reported high-quality French wine to unaware dealers globally. 6 people were taken into custody after a raid where investigators seized counterfeit Grand Cru wines, forging materials, bottling equipment, and a substantial amount of cash. With rare wine prices on the rise in the last decade, war fraudsters are apparently capitalizing on the opportunity to scam high-end wine buyers. Rebecca Gibb, a wine master and author of Vintage Crime, a short story of wine fraud, said she's seeing a lot more collector fraud today than she's ever seen. Gibbs said the trend began in the 2000s when lots of people who knew nothing about wine started to see this as a potential addition to their portfolio. These victims, of course, weren't the average Jane or Joe. Gibbs said the people who are committing these crimes and the people who are victims are generally middle to upper class white males. This is Scams and Cons News.
Hi, this is Amy and Vanessa from She Goes by Jane, where we shine light on the stories of missing and unidentified women. On November 7th, we're sharing Nahida's story for the first time in a podcast. And this is a story that I thought I knew, but after reading police reports, became more complicated than I thought. When investigators are called to Nahida Khatib's house, everything looks fine. Her purse is on the kitchen table, her cup of coffee is on the counter, and her 2-year-old niece is in her playpen. The only thing amiss? Nahida is missing.
Every week we feature a poem written in honor of the person we're talking about. This week we're joined by one of our favorite actresses. You might know her from Sister Act or King of the Hill or The Descendants. But if you're like us, you'll know her from Hocus Pocus. She's the much beloved Kathy Najimy. Join us November 7th to hear Nahida's story.